Perhaps the greatest impediment and restraint to the coming of the kingdom and the final restoration of all things might just be our own untamed heart. Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10-Minute Torah, Day 2 of the Torah portion of Vayigash, which means, and he drew near, or he approached. Let's go back to Bereshit, or Genesis, chapter 44, and read verse 32 and following. Yehuda says, "For your servant went guarantee for the boy to my father, saying, if I do not bring him back to you, then I shall be a sinner before my father forever. And now please let your servant remain instead of the boy as a slave to my master, and let the boy go up with his brothers. For how do I go up to my father if the boy is not with me, lest I see the evil that will come upon my father?" Now into chapter 45. And Joseph was unable to restrain himself before all those who stood by him, and he called out, "Have everyone go out from me." So no one stood with him while Joseph made himself known to his brothers. And he wept aloud, and the Mitzrites and the house of Pharaoh heard it. Imagine with me an opportunity to be out on the plains of the western United States, flat prairie lands, and as you are driving along, you see a herd of wild Mustang horses, led by a majestic stallion whose nostrils are flaring, whose mane and tail is flying in the wind, whose muscles are bulging as he races across the landscape at full speed. Might be breathtaking. It might be awe-inspiring. But then think about it. Other than the horse itself, who's being benefited? Well, maybe the onlooker for a few moments as they behold the spectacle and admire the strength and speed. But there's no rider on the back. The horse is simply running for the sake of the horse. The fact is that if a rider could tame the horse, it doesn't break its spirit completely. It disciplines the horse to be able to go just as fast and exhibit just as much strength, but now benefiting someone else other than itself. Imagine a child, and we've all seen this. A child is acting out, demonstrating strong will. The parent looks at the child and says, "Now, little Billy Bob, little Mary Lou, you need to behave. You might have to sit in the timeout chair." Ooh. And look at your iPad. Well, that child has strength, it has energy, it has ability, it may have a very creative mind, it might have a beautiful imagination, it might have purity and innocence, but without discipline, without boundaries, without the taming of that child's heart, that child will never benefit anyone other than seeking its or his or her own benefit. There has to be the process of brokenness, which is the process of discipline, which is the process of correction, and the establishment of righteous boundaries. In our storyline, you have two very strong-willed, strong-personalitied brothers. They stand face to face. They each have their unique and different perspective about the world that is around them. Rabbinical thought says that Judah is more about the application of the Torah and its fixed lined requirements about bringing this present world to a place of right function, Whereas Joseph is not denying that, but looking beyond, and he's more about the overall setting and place of the things that will bring the final restoration. To this day, that seems to be what would be applied to us, the house of Yehuda, the Jews. Think very much about, let's focus on the mitzvahs of the Torah. Let's apply the disciplines that we know that our rabbis have taught us. We want to focus on the daily prayer regimens. We want to be scrupulous in our observance because, well, it's what's important and will ultimately bring the final restoration. The house of Joseph, as most commonly expressed within the realms of churchdom or those that have come out and are now either Messianic or Hebrew roots or whatever other identity or tag you might suggest for yourself. We're thinking about more the overall plan. We're already looking into the final days. We believe, for the most part, we're in the last days. And we're looking for the major steps that are next in the ranks of prophecy, trying to figure out the timeline and just looking for Yeshua to come. It's not to say that the Jews are not thinking about the last days and Messiah's appearance. They are. And it's not saying that we don't think about observing the Torah, because we do. But it's a different level of application on either side. But let's think about this. Joseph has had to endure years of rejection and solitude from his family and servitude and having to discipline his obvious strengths and ability under the guidance, guard, and mastery of someone else. Now he's finally come to a place where he is stepping into his destiny, but not without years of hard preparation. Excuse me. Yehuda likewise has overcome personal tragedy. He's been guilt-ridden over Joseph. He has lost 2 sons. He has been very much humbled by a woman thought to be much less worthy than himself, his daughter-in-law. He's come back home, and now he's just about taking care of Benjamin and leading the family. In the middle of both of this, it is the fact that Yaakov has suffered 22 years of depression. He's fought Esau, he's fought Lavan, he's fought Shechem and Hamor at the city of Shechem. He has wrestled with man and with Yah to try to overcome. And his favorite son is gone. Tragedy after tragedy, hardship after struggle, after oppression, after opposition. All of these things shaping, forming. And while you would think, well, the devil sure has been after them. No, it's not so much the devil as it is Yah has allowed life, hardships, and circumstances to form and to shape them into a place where they can now be rightfully, righteously reunited and restored. If Joseph had received the brakah, the father's blessing, and the Bekorah, the double portion blessing, and then also received the Bekira, the blessing that Yah would give him to possess the lineage of the seed and the inheritance of the land, and he owned all of that, it would have probably destroyed the family of Israel if he had not gone through the breaking process to where he would be willing to share all of that with his brothers. That it wouldn't be one individual coming out of the family as the first and foremost, but rather that the family would be promoted. Yah is allowing the stuff, the issues, your issues, to shape and tame your own heart so that you can benefit someone else other than yourself. It's an humbling, purifying process, but it must be employed. in order for the blessings to be fully realized. And we'll see you again tomorrow. To then, shalom.